Hey guys, just to give anyone a moment to join. According to my analytics, this was like the best time. I don't know if you guys can pop in on your drive home. I hope you can hear me. Hey, Kels. Girl, I am so tired, girl. I just woke up. I'm not so tired because I did some Reiki, to try to give myself some energy. I definitely talked to my gods because I tried to postpone, honey. And they were like, no, ma'am. No, ma'am. But I don't know, I was so sleepy. I definitely went to bed late last night. So, yeah, here we are. So I'm just trying to give people a little bit more time to get on in here. And then we'll go from there. Hopefully, I think I was gonna do talk about relationships and love, but I really feel like that needs to be one video by itself, and so that's the way we're gonna do that. So hopefully, we'll be able to get through the things that I want to hit on today um, in one video. How are you doing? Whew, child. If y'all good, if y'all see my hair dripping, bear with me, cause like I said, I took a nap for sure. And so when I woke up, I was like, oh, Lord. I have to refresh these curls, honey. Me and my natural hair, we going to get through it, though. Lord, have mercy. I don't know what to do with her right now. I'm good. Y'all going to definitely see her in a wig this week. I was trying to fight against it. Well, thank you. I was trying to fight against it, like wearing a wig. But it feels necessary. It really does. I'm really like critiquing myself right now, and it is not good. Stop it, Tiffany. Whatever. Thank you. I know my ancestors love it too, but I'm over here like, listen, I need y'all to work y'all magic on this hair, honey. So welcome, guys. Come on in. The first thing that we're gonna talk about today is healing, like chakras and balances, some of the things that we do to heal, boundaries, we'll talk about relationships in that aspect. Really, girl? I don't know. It's so deceiving because it looks so short like this, and I like long hair. But look how long it actually is. That shrinkage is a fool. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's just not fair. It looks so short like that. And I'm a Leo, honey, so we like big hair, big purses, and that shrinkage is a fool, girl. I'm over here like, geez, I don't know what product to use when, but we gonna work it out. It is. It's so deceiving. I asked my guys, like, should I cut it off and start over? They was like, absolutely not. I got the quickest no I've ever, well, not the quickest, but it was quick. Quickest no I've gotten in a long time from them about that. Because I certainly was thinking about it, starting over. Yeah. So we're going to talk about healing. We're going to talk about karma and justice today. We're also going to talk about spiritual warfare, honey. Because, honey, that shit's so real. We're also going to talk about signs and symbols. If we have any Sagittariuses, if you guys are on now or coming, don't cut it. I thought about it, especially if I look back at my videos and I'll be like, oh, I was so free then when it was like this long. I was so free. It was so easy. Talk about a wash and go, honey. Yes. But yeah, we're going to talk about signs and symbols. I have already started posting for the collectives per sign ascension journey readings. And so I really thought that those were going to be like specifically for people who are awakening. My God said, no, that is not the case. When we speak of ascension or healing or growing, it's really just that, it's growing. And so not everybody who wants to grow has actually experienced an awakening. So that those readings are going up. Definitely. I had just finished Sagittarius's reading. I had Aries stuff laid all out, but I was like, I need a quick nap. So Aries, you guys are up next. And when I decide how to post those, I usually do them in order of engagement, guys. So this set of readings, like whatever readings I do next for you guys, is going to be based on, the thumbs up, the comments, or whatever. Like whoever has the most of those, highest engagement, they come first the next time, and we do it in order from, greatest to least in that way. So definitely don't forget. And I know it's easy to watch a video and then forget to thumbs up the video, but not only does that help the channel to grow, it helps other people who are dealing with whatever it is that you're dealing with to kind of find out about the reading. So I'm super grateful for it. I can often tell like when a video is not going to have the engagement that it needs to have, or that I would like for it to have. Cause man, I get so drained after. I feel like that's because of that universal law of exchange, right? So that can be pretty defeating. Y'all help us out in that regard. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into it. I hope I don't look like I'm sweating. It's so crazy because I'm not, but I feel like I'm just shining. I told my son we're gonna call it the glow, because he'll be like, you hot? No, jeez. Let me glow, please. Anyway. But then I think, it's even brighter with the lights on. Whatever. So I think first what we're going to discuss is healing. Something, guys, that has been super helpful and beneficial for me is Reiki. I feel like I mentioned Reiki a little bit yesterday, but let me tell you just a little bit about what my understanding of it is. It is definitely it's a healing technique that allows you to kind of shift energy. Certain people you can train to become like a Reiki master or whatever. I feel like some people have this gift naturally, okay? Like one time I was at a job, and this is when I was like, okay, what is going on? When I was at my last actual like day job, one of my coworkers was like, Tiff, look at this. She was like, I have a lump right here, like in my neck. Well, it was her right side, right here. And I was like, oh no, thank you, boo. And she was like, yeah, feel it. She took my hand. And I'm not a super touchy-feely person, but she took my hand and put my hand on her lump, her knot. She's like, feel it, feel it, feel it. And I'm feeling it, pretty much palpating her tension knot, right? And I was like, yeah, I do feel it. Like you could really feel it was an actual thing. So she goes to her class, I go to mine. And after the class, she's walking out of her class like, doo-doo-doo, I'm feeling good. And I was like, she said, girl, my knot is gone. Like it just disappeared. Guess who was sitting up there like this? My ass. And I was like, wait a minute. It's like I transferred that from her to me. So yeah, I feel like some people have kind of like a natural gift to do that. I don't know that I really want to explore that. I've definitely done it though on my son as well. He didn't know that that's what I was doing, but that's exactly what I was doing, and so I know it works. But Reiki is just a manipulation of energies, okay? And so the ones that I use are often on YouTube, of course. I have gone to an energy healer, and she and I just wanted her to check to see where my blockages were, right? And so we were in a nice dimly lit room. It was just really calming and relaxing, and she just kind of scanned my body. It was like a chakra scan, I guess you could call it that as well. But when I walked in, she could already tell my crown chakra was crazy open. And it really, really was at the time. So that was pretty cool to see. But also, she was like, there's not much here. Like, you've been doing the work. She could tell that I had been doing the work, my shadow work, to heal, to release blockages, to let certain things go. I mean, she was just right on the money with that. So, and there's Reiki for some of everything, y'all. There's Reiki to boost confidence. There's Reiki for protection against like psychic attacks. We're going to talk about that. There is Reiki to boost your energy. Like anything that you could think of that you want to affect in your life, there's Reiki for it. Okay. Who was that? Somebody's reading that I did yesterday. I think it's Gemini. Reiki for cord cutting. Listen, y'all gotta do that. I'm gonna put that on the relationship talk. You gotta do that. It's been very helpful. You can cord cut by like using meditation, but this right here is also super beneficial, super helpful. There's Reiki to release anger, and expect that when you do these Reiki healings for things to come up. It's not like in the middle of the Reiki session you automatically feel like, oh, I'm not angry anymore. It's not like that at all. It's like you'll start noticing yourself thinking about certain things or having this type of these feelings perhaps of anger or just discomfort, and you're wondering why is this coming up, why do I feel like this? It's because it's being released over time. So it's definitely effective. You definitely take notice of that. Something else, guys, since I mentioned anger, on the healing journey, anger is a secondary emotion, right? So it is usually, and I had to look into this a few years ago because my sister who passed away, she mentioned to me at one point, like, you need to figure out what this anger is about, right? And I was like, girl, whatever. I was dismissive. And then a guy that I was dating at the time as well had said the same thing. Like, you might need to check your anger issue. And I was even angry at him. I was angry at somebody else. He's like, you might need to. And I was like, shut up. But after he said it, I was like, okay, that's too many people. So I had to get some books and really start digging into what anger is. And it's a secondary emotion, which means that it's a result of something else that you've already felt. So it's usually like some type of pain or trauma that you have. Whenever you see somebody who is in an energy where they are cranky all the time or irritable all the time, there's usually some type of underlying stress or upset that needs to be addressed, released in order to heal, right? So like this energy where I try to keep my vibe high and I'm staying happy all the time, it is not something that happened overnight, trust me. And I still get angry. I just don't like myself in that energy, so I try not to stay there. I get upset, you know what I mean? Like I told y'all yesterday, I'm not by any means saying or presenting myself like I'm perfect or I have all the answers. I'm just going to be able to tell you what my experiences have been and what has worked for me. So I begin to, that was part of when my shadow work journey had began as well. And so I just got to tell you kind of what worked for me. And so I had to really get to the root of my anger. So then there's resentment for past treatments. There's stuff that went on in my childhood as far as, having been such a nerd, a geek. And I just saw 14 on the clock. I wasn't really bullied, but I was definitely different and made aware of the difference. I was the kid in class that, like, seriously, I was the top of my class, like, every year, that kind of energy. So I was the kid in class where the teacher would say, Tiffany, you finished? Good. Go around and help everybody. Right? So it's kind of like you singled out, and I didn't mind doing it. I enjoyed doing it, but it also makes you somewhat of a target. You know what I'm saying? So there was that. I felt like there was some residual things there from that energy. But then I got to middle school, and it's like I went to a tag academy, so everybody at that school was kind of genius level. You know what I'm saying? So then it kind of becomes a lot more competitive. So then when you're not at the top like you have been, that's a whole rude awakening. But I never felt... So it's almost like a pressure that you put on yourself. So anyway, all of this throughout your childhood, develops who you are as an adult, and it creates certain things. And while we think, okay, I had this circumstance or this situation and I was able to move on from it, it didn't affect me. The fact that it does affect you is something that's going to be needing to be addressed, right? And something that's beneficial, or what I realized in the journey of healing, is that in order to heal something, it's really as simple as needing to acknowledge that that exists, right? Just like so there's a lot in the healing process. There's a lot of not only healing, there's a lot of acknowledging, like, damn, that did hurt me, or that wasn't fair, right? Acknowledging it so that you can really kind of create an understanding around it, so that you can let it go, so that you are able to actually ascend. Aura is what I call it, AURA. Acknowledgement, understanding, releasing, and ascending. Wow, I think I had forgotten that last A last time. So yeah, so that's a, I don't want to say it's a technique that I use, but it's just something that was explained to me in that way that I have found to be helpful. Okay. Yeah, y'all know I'm gonna need my water. So there's that. So then that you have the underlying resentments for things not going the way that you would hoped that they would go. You realize that you may have lax boundaries with certain people or situations. Um, you realize that you may be living or doing a lot of things that have you in a space of fear, right? And then throughout all of that, you're realizing that, dang, as a result, I internalize judgment on myself or criticism on myself that needs to be let go of. So you have to learn to be more compassionate with yourself, as compassionate as you would be with other people as well. And so it's just a whole little process. So definitely, if that's something that you are experiencing, be willing to be patient with yourself as you unravel these different things. It is very, very, very much so worth it. Um, it feels like an energy of freedom that you didn't realize you need. What do they say all the time? This is like the collaboration that we didn't know we needed, or this is the, yeah. It's like something you didn't really realize you needed until you do it. Okay, so definitely don't give up if you're on that journey of healing and you're unpacking your baggage, right? That's why a lot of people don't do it, though, because it's not something that's easy or simple to do. In the spiritual community, the popular way to explain that would be shadow work, right? I feel like because it is so difficult, when people hear it, they're like, oh shit, right? But that's because it's difficult. It's difficult. It is difficult to look at your trauma, the stuff that you have suppressed, the stuff that you have run from for years, to really be honest with yourself. Like, yes, I do see where this affects me still, right? And it's a decision that you don't want it to have that power over you. You don't want it to affect you in this negative way anymore. And it's a decision to decide, hey, I'm going to let it go. All right. So there's that. Let's talk about karma. This one's interesting. So for me, karma is what goes around comes around, right? And most people think this in a negative way. Like, I feel like it has like a negative connotation to it, just because of how we have made the word like seem negative. But the truth of the matter is, I don't feel like it's a negative thing, because in the end, it's really justice. People assume or think or feel like justice is when things work in your favor. And that's not necessarily the truth, because sometimes you have done something that is like, well, I hate that it turned out this way, but it's probably what I deserved for this particular situation anyway, right? What kind of example can I give for that? But what I wrote down was that what goes around comes around, and we all know the connotation that comes with that, right? Which is true. It's like that's the energy that you put out is what's gonna be returned to you. The thing about that is that it is, people think that it is linear, right? Like, what I do to you, you're gonna do to me. That's not necessarily the case at all. What I've learned is that it's more like a circle, right? So what maybe I do something to you that is offensive, then there may be someone in a different aspect of my life who does something that's offensive to me, right? That's one part of it. Also, us in our human energies are like, people get off with these things or they get away with these things, right? We're feeling like justice wasn't served because we don't see what has happened to them, right? But the divine sees all, and so oftentimes people get their karma, they get what they deserve in other forms. What I have learned based on what I've studied, what I've experienced, and what I've seen in other people's readings, as well as just what I've read about it, the way karma works, the universe knows what matters to you, right? I think I've shared this example before. So say you are in a situation, a relationship that you are loving this person purely unconditionally, right? Uh, um and this person does something that's like the ultimate disrespect or the ultimate betrayal for you, right? You may be wanting revenge, but then it's like, nope, they'll get theirs, they'll get their karma, and you're wanting it to be for them to have their heart broken. But if they don't give a damn about relationships like that, them having their heart broken is not going to mean anything, right? Or if it does, then the one that matters the most to them may well be the one to break their heart, and then there's that karma. But if say their money is what matters most to them, then the universe may say, okay, so let me give you your karma for what you did in this relationship, right? It's a matter of what is most important to that person. It's not always dished out the way that we expect it to be, right? Or we may think, this person got away with this murder, and it's not that they got away with the murder. What you don't see is their sleepless nights, their heightened paranoia, their inability to walk freely around the world without feeling like eyes are on them. You don't see their sleepless nights. You don't see their psychosis, even, right, where they can't escape their own minds and thoughts, right? So karma, just know that karma, while what goes around does come around. If you are in a negative energy, then you're definitely going to notice negative energies being thrown back at you. But justice is going to be what it is that they deserve, not necessarily what we deem is fair. Let me give you an example about karma. Like when I was driving a lot, and and this is when, again, the anger, another reason to look at it, because I used to have an alter ego when I drove, called Road Rage Rita. I used to call her Road Rage Rita. Like, people do some dumb stuff, I was quick to like grab a penny from my little coin thing, and throw a coin at their car, and they're looking, because that shit sound like gunshots when you're driving. It's really not nice. It's a really not nice thing to do. But anyway, when you're in you had the conversation about the karma and the justice and how it comes back in a way, or comes around, right? I feel like that circle is what we usually see. The yin yang circle is what we usually see with that. And yeah, and I feel like that's that's strategic, because it's a circular thing. It's not like linear. It's not back and forth between the two of us. And that's the same way I feel like with everything in life is a cycle, a circle. My friend also told me this one day. Yep. My friend also told me this in one day about blessings, right? It's the same way. So it's like, when we have an expectation in certain connections or partnerships or relationships, we have this expectation to, well, because I was able to bless you in some way, that you would be able to bless me. And that's not how it works. Sometimes the blessing that I give to you, I'm going to be blessed in return from different sources, different people, right? Because it's circular. It's not linear. It's the same thing for me. But yeah, when you are driving, say you're driving in an energy where you are cranky yourself, or you stressed out, or you angry, and oh, absolutely, absolutely, it doesn't. And that girl, now that's what I definitely had to learn. I didn't learn it the hard way. I feel like Spirit showed me that in a reading, with what's his name, Trey, the George Zimmerman case. I had to ask my guides, like, why does it feel like this person got off, right? And it looks like this person is living their best life. And they were like, but this person did not get off. This person is not free to walk around and be themselves or who they were previously. This person doesn't sleep at night. This person can't go where they would want to go comfortably. Like, trust me, they are getting theirs, right? Where we look at it like, oh, this person got away with murder. Not exactly, right? The universe is still holding him accountable. They showed me that, and that is probably the clearest aspect of it that I can think of. Okay. Um, but yeah, as far as the way that what it is you put out is what comes back to you. So you are, if you're in this cranky mood or you're stressed out or you're I can't even believe I can't think of Trey's name. What's that baby's name? That in Florida, I think it was, where that man chased him while he was wearing a hoodie with his Skittles. Trey. Do you remember that? It was a major case. Um, I can't, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But yeah, if you're in this negative energy all the time, then that's going to be the first thing you see. You're going to see negative things. You're going to see the things that piss you off. And something that brought that home for me, when I was working on my anger and releasing that and healing and growing, and that's okay. I'll find a girl, and I realized like, dang, I'm in this cranky mood, and I don't want to be cranky. It's like you learn that other people who are cranky are probably also dealing with things that have nothing to do with you. So it's not the fact that you got in front of them, it's the fact that they feel disrespected, right? So you learn to not personalize things or not to take things personally. So something that I did to keep my vibe high, because I love music, was to sing a lot, or just to, stay upbeat in that regard. So then it's like, okay, if I'm driving around and I'm in this upbeat and happy mood, it's like the drivers that I have to interact with or connect with in any way are more upbeat as well. They're like, no, go ahead, get in front of me. Hi. And just waving, random stuff like that. So it's really about your energy affecting what it is that you see and how you see the world around you. Okay, so definitely what goes around comes around. I feel like people use that statement, but it's not just about karma or vengeance or the evil that you put out. Yeah, I love music so much. So I used to, in the car has the best acoustics, so it's the perfect it's the perfect place to sing, in the car, and in the bathroom, right? The next thing, guys, that we're going to discuss a little bit is spiritual warfare. Let me tell you something that my guides have been really putting in my face here lately. One, that is a very real thing. But two, if you are healing, if you are growing, if you are trying to become better, there are Decepticons, as Brittany calls them. There are people whose only goal and mission is to keep you from achieving your purpose, to keep you from walking your path, to keep you from attaining your goals, right? It's not necessarily, well, I was going to say it's not necessarily that they mean to be assholes, but yeah, it's like their life purpose. Their life purpose is to run demonic interference. Okay, so if you are a person who is healing, growing, trying to be better, trying to improve, know that you are going to, at some point, be susceptible to spiritual warfare. Period. Like, no ifs, no ands, no buts. At some point, people are going to come for you in a way that seems so random. Trust that it's not. When you start getting hit with those things, you're doing something right. Okay? And so, yeah, that's what I wrote. I wrote, ascension invites attack. It just does, because if you believe in good, you have to know that there's evil, right? So when you are trying to be good, people on the other side of that energy are going to want to stop you from spreading that goodness. Okay, so when you're walking in your purpose and you're on your path and you're trying to do what it is that you've been guided to do or led to do, There are going to be things that try to pull you back in the other direction. Plain and simple. It just happens. And this is could be something that people do with spells. This could be something that people do with their energy. They may try to provoke you into argument. And sometimes I feel like people do it and they don't even realize it's what they're being used for. They don't even understand why they jealous. They don't even understand why they don't want you to win or succeed, right? But they may have some type of attachment that's controlling them as well and making them project certain things onto you. So if you are trying to ascend, just know that you're going to face spiritual attacks at some point. And this could be psychically, right? Where people are so focused and obsessed with your energy. Y'all, I swear there's somebody that is like a sex worker or a brothel owner or something like that. I swear, guys, because there's somebody who keeps creating a page, right, where it's like what a naked lady or some sort, right, in their profile picture. It's always a brand new page because they got the new labels on the top of it or whatever. But I see, know, and recognize that whoever it is, it's the same person. But every time I block them, they come from a different page that they've created just like that. These are not things that I interact with on my stuff. So, like, what are the odds of this happening? As soon as I block you, another one shows up in that same energy. So yeah, there is definitely someone who is in an obsessive energy, and so that is almost like a psychic attack when you are in an obsessive energy. When you are in an energy where you're thinking about someone so much, kind of just like, and vice versa. When someone is thinking about you so much, right, you may feel like, dang, why am I thinking about so and so? And if you're on good terms with them, that could be a good thing. But if this is someone you're trying to walk away from, you're trying to forget, and you're having an extra difficult time doing it, it may be because they are obsessing over your energy, right? And it makes it difficult for you to cut, which is the importance of courting, cutting those relationships, cutting those ties, right? It is something that needs to be calling your energy back. It's something that needs to be done energetically, spiritually, spoken. It needs to be done so that you are not tethered to anybody or anything or any energy that you don't want to be tethered to. That's why a lot of tarot readers you'll see, they never show their faces at all, right? Like, never. It's not because they aren't attractive. It's because they understand the power of people connecting to your energy, right? It's a very powerful thing, and people can use it to attack you. I have had followers that I thought were the kindest people, the nicest people, but at the same time, maybe a little odd, right? But if I feel like your energy becomes a drain for me, nah, we got to cut this cord. I will block you out of the blue, right? It won't be out of the blue. If it happens to you, you'll know why. All right, because something about your, and I told this lady that, because she messaged my friend and asked her what happened to my page. Why did I block her? And it's like, yeah, your energy was draining me and I couldn't do it. Like, I would wake up out of my sleep in the middle of the night and check my notifications, and it's like she's going down my social media page, like liking post by post by post. And that's not a problem, right? Of course, you want that support, but when it seems or begins to feel obsessive, it is not healthy. It becomes more of a restriction. And also, because we had this friendship or this connection, it's like, if this person who is connecting to your energy in that way has other attachments, which this person definitely did, has other attachments that are negatively impacting her, then that's going to ultimately affect you as well. So that's all about boundaries, protecting yourself. And how do you do that? Again, I use Reiki very strongly. I use prayer very strongly. I use meditation very strongly. And y'all know, let me show you. I got a bucket load of crystals. That's not all of them. But I got a lot of crystals. The black crystals, like black onyx, obsidian, tourmaline, those are really good at absorbing and blocking negative energy. Also, the selenite Selenite wand is very good at that. Look at this wand, y'all. I don't know if you can see it here. There's like a dent on it, right? That came out of nowhere. I have no idea how it got dented like that. Well, I have an idea, but it's not like I hit it up against something, or it suffered some type of impact. That just happened. And the same thing with some of my quartz crystals, right? This thing can be crystal clear. Crystal clear. You see how it is here at the top? Crystal clear. But then one day I looked up at the bottom of it, and this is something that stays on my neck, so it's not having any impact, like physical impacts or touching with anything else. But here we have at the bottom all these cracks that developed in the inside of it. Now, some of it can be your own energy, but if you are a person that you haven't had like any explosive situations or angry outbursts or anything like that, then it's likely the fact that these clear quartz, because they are a protective crystal as well, are doing their job, and they're blocking some energy that's being sent your way, right? Whether that's just negativity or resentment or anger or hatred, whatever the case, right? And that's another thing. Those negative emotions like that are spiritual warfare, especially not just because you have them, but because you direct them at other people. And then something that you probably need to be very careful about, which is that what goes around comes around, is who you are directing that towards. For such a long time, I really had a tough time saying, like, return it to sender. I would ask for my energy to be protected and to be blocked, but I didn't want to return any negative energy to anybody, right? Because at the end of the day, like, we are all one and we are connected, but I don't want to project anything negative onto anybody, but my guys had to show me and tell me, right? No, forget that. We gonna return it. We gonna return it, right? So I don't even have to say that part anymore, even though I do, and I'm comfortable with it. It's like not something that's necessary, because as long as you set the boundary in place and the expectation, it is something that's going to occur. So, like, yeah, I used to have such a problem saying return it to sender times 10, whoever's sending this energy towards me, right? And it's not that it's something that's coming from you, it's that whoever it is that they're connected to in their life, they're going to feel this same energy, right? So that is what I mean by spiritual warfare. So definitely a need for you to protect yourself, to pray energies of protection as well. Also, something that I was noticing in certain readings, right? Depending on the collective, girl, if it's doing that to the crystals, imagine what happens to our energy field. Exactly. I feel that's why it's so important to put these protections in place. But I'm just like, man, when I see that that's what's going on, or I can tell that that's what's happening, I'm so grateful for divine protection, for spiritual protection, for my ancestors, for angels. Like, and that's another thing, you really have to believe that, okay, yeah, without protection, girl, exactly. And I feel like people don't even be knowing it or recognizing that that's what it is, that's why all of a sudden you feel exhausted. That's why all of a sudden you feel so drained. That's why all of a sudden you had manifested something and now it's gone, right? People start hating on it and you weren't praying around it to protect it, right? Like, there were times where Spirit was like, nope, you need to pray over your car. You need to pray over this. You need to pray over that. And I was just like, dang, do I have to be super specific? And they was like, yes, be specific, right? Because anything that is heavily attached to you is susceptible to it. Absolutely. So what I was going to say about in the readings, something that Spirit kind of brought to light for me was to be very clear about your intent to connect, who it is you want to be connected to. I feel like, just like we get information from the divine, you guys will probably hear me saying more frequently now, Holy Spirit, right? I don't even say my prayers out loud, right? Because it's not that I don't feel like the devil or dark energy is omniscient like God is, right? Being everywhere, knowing everything. But I feel like evil energy works through people. And so when you sharing your prayers out loud, you kind of like giving them your blueprint. And no, I don't need you working and praying against me. So even my prayers of protection before I do these readings, I don't share them on camera. I don't need you to hear them, right? Just know that they've been done. But also, like I was saying, Holy Spirit, my angels, they really have me being very clear about the energies that I'm getting information from. I feel like not all readers do that, so be mindful of that energy as well, because I could feel like it can just really kind of open a portal for attack as well. Um, Especially for certain people, or the people that you read from, or channel information from or for, like whatever's attached to them is coming in this space because they know you talking about them. So that protection energy is super important. Y'all know I go to the lake a lot. I was at the lake one day. I just got there, and I didn't take like anything to feed the ducks or anything, right? And two white ducks, was it two of them? Two white ducks. They were all coming, but the two white ones were the first ones, and they were coming towards me. And I was like, "Oh, okay, I don't have anything." They're squawking at me. They're like quacking, and I'm like, "What? Like, what's wrong?" Okay, let me go get some bread, right? So I get back in the car, run around to get some bread, and come back, and they come back towards me. I was paying attention, I think, to signs and symbols at the time, but what I thought I knew, right? So I pull the bread out. I'm breaking the bread up, and I'm putting the bread down, and they were like, "We don't want that," and they turned and walked away. So I was like, "Wait a minute! Now I done wasted my gas to go over here to get y'all this bread. Come back here and eat this bread." But they did not want the bread, so I was like, "Okay, let me look up the spiritual meaning of the white duck." And guess what? The white duck is all about protection. It's all about the need for spiritual protection. It could be the need for it. It could be something that's being confirmed for you that you are protected from. I feel like this was my first real understanding of psychic attacks, and I feel like my guides were trying to warn me against it. I don't know if I had just started my channel, but I was stepping into the public. And so there are very much so people in my life or in my past connections, past friendships, they girlfriends, different things like that, or just people who don't want you to succeed, or don't want you to use your voice, or don't want you to have moved on from them, right? And they send you this negative energy. So I feel like Spirit was really warning me. When I looked it up, it was like protection, protection, protection. And I was like, geez, okay. Like that really helped me to get it, because it's something that they had been giving me a sign for like the past few days. Like I kept getting numbers connected to the need for protection, protection, protection. I'm thinking it's that I am protected. No, that's another thing with your angels, your ancestors. They're going to always pretty much step up for you. All right. But the angels, like the archangels, in order for them to interfere, even with your ancestors, you need to be open to asking them for their divine assistance, for their divine protection, for their divine help, right? You need to be open to asking them, because there's something about them not being able to just step in just because they want to step in, or to save you just because they want to save you, right? When you're on your path and you have some things to do, like say you get into an accident and it's like, I know I saw an angel because there's no way I survived that on my own. Yeah, those things can happen because you still have things to do. But in your day-to-day life, the day-to-day choices that you make, they are not allowed to interfere. It's like allowing your baby to kind of learn on their own. I just saw 4422 on the clock. Anyway, it's a really sweet energy, gratitude. But yeah, so it's spiritual warfare, guys. So protect yourselves through prayer, through crystals, through the things that you say, through your ancestors, your spirit guides. Yeah, I feel like we do too, because hell, I know I was assuming that at some point. But then I learned that, yeah, some of these things you got to ask for. And then I'm like, dang, that this is... I'll be like, okay, well, do I need to do this again? When I would do reading after reading after reading, do I need to do this again? And it's like, yes, you need to do it every time. And I'm like, well, I feel like we had kind of covered it. we had kind of covered this. So it's like you guys know what we're doing, but it's like, no, you need to continually ask, right? You need to continually ask, which is why you need to pray every day, or in the morning and the night, or meditate in the morning and the night. Like, it's a process that needs to be repeated, because every morning is considered new, a new start, a new beginning. It's something that needs to be repeated. Um, yeah, so there's that. Don't allow it to scare you or to control you. I think in somebody's reading, I was talking about that. Somebody today, somebody followed me. Y'all know how I feel about spell workers, right? Like, there's no need for that. Anytime you're trying to intentionally manipulate other people's energy, you wrong. Period. There's no need for it. I don't feel like it's a good thing at all. So yeah, I don't align with spell workers. Period. Absolutely. I don't align with spell workers. Period. If you guys follow me on social media, you've probably seen the post. It's pinned about my ancestors being a squad, right? My understanding of how divinely protected I am in most situations, etc. And somebody who does not follow me just randomly found this post, which has been up for months now, and liked the post. And I looked because the person's name was Spell Worker. And so I went to look at their page, and that's all they have on there, offering spells. So I don't know if someone had purchased their services, or if they just like legitimately ran across the post. Yeah. Yeah, so my guides, I was asking my guides, okay, what am I supposed to do about this person? How am I supposed to handle this person, right? Am I supposed to block them, or like, what do we do with that? And my guides were like, don't block them. We got it. You know, we got it. You good. Trust me, because what it is that you wrote was true. So you good. Don't do anything to it. Don't give it any energy, right? So that's what I chose to do, and just moved on about my day and my business or whatever. But so yeah, when you have these systems in space, in place, in alignment here, just trust and believe that the protection is there for you. Definitely be open to asking for it and willing to ask for it, in order to receive it, and be open to receiving it as well. The next thing that I wanted to talk about with you guys is something that we've kind of already been touching on: signs and symbols. Y'all know, I'm a big fan of it, right? I feel like I have shamanic ties in my like actual genetic lineage from this lifetime, but also perhaps from past lifetimes as well. Thus, this curly hair, this Indian ancestry, all the things, right? Um, but yeah, so you don't have to be a shaman though to be able to read or interpret animal symbolism. Okay, this is what I want to call it, a method that I feel the universe uses to I just saw 4848 on the clock, uses to connect to all of us, right? To guide all of us, to offer all of us guidance every day on our paths. They can do it through animals, they can do it through insects, they can do it through numbers and numerology, right? Of course, be aware that a lot of these animals and insects have different like they have a range of meanings or potential meanings. So something that's important to remember is what it is that you were thinking about at the time, what it is that you've asked for clarity or answers or guidance about. Look, I love stretching my dresses. I shouldn't do that, but it's comfortable, so what. Um but yeah, so it's like, be sure that you are paying attention not only to what it is that you're doing, because while you may see the same symbol, the meaning for that symbol could change depending on what it is you need it for at the time. So yeah, that's why it's important to always look it up if you are not very clear. And sometimes you just have this inner knowing, like, okay, I know that that was a confirmation, or I know that that's what that meant because I know what I was just thinking about or talking about to my higher self or my guides or whatever, right? That this is also the reason, guys, when I really realized how seriously animals um, are like spirit. I was like, I don't want to eat another animal. But I don't know if I have mentioned it on the channel. Y'all know I'm not vegetarian no more, right? I definitely eat meat again. Uh, I don't eat like I try not to eat processed meats like lunch meats. Definitely no hot dogs. I haven't had a hot dog in forever, and that's just not gonna change. Period. Okay, but chicken, and I'm trying to pull away from that because I'm learning too much about how we process chicken in America. Um, Fish for sure, but even that is like cringe. Somebody showed a video the other day of an osprey grabbing a fish from the ocean, and I was not prepared. I was not prepared. And I remember the one time that I tried to prepare shrimp. Well, I did prepare shrimp for my children. It was such a difficult thing to do. Or that time that I was going to do a turkey, right, for Thanksgiving. I was getting this meal together. Y'all, I had to call my mama because I almost didn't make it through that because, they stuff the insides inside. So you pull this little package out and it's got like the neck in there and all that. I'm like, oh my God, it's a real neck, right? Anyway, so I feel like I have had this animal connection for a long time anyway, but the more that I learn about how the divine uses them as messengers and signs and symbols for us, it made it a lot more difficult for me to eat meat in good conscience. But I relapsed, right? So I do eat it a little bit, like I said, but just not to the degree or the extent that I used to. Um, but I feel like you get messages through them. Also, something that I've recently learned is even plants or flowers have spiritual significance or meanings, right? So you may feel specifically drawn to a particular type of plant. Look up the spiritual meaning of that plant and see if it aligns with you, and it is like a light bulb, like, oh, that's why I love this flower so much. Yeah, because that's what this means, right? But animals, those are usually the big signs, right? uh I talked about that time I was sitting on my front porch and I was needing to do a reading, and I was like, well, let me get up and go put my wig on before I do these readings. But I was just sitting there. I had my natural hair on. I think it was in a ponytail or something. And I'm looking like, dang, that is the fattest cat I have ever seen. I didn't say it out loud. I was just thinking it. And in that moment, this thing that was walking up the street, up the sidewalk, stopped, like looked at me, turned and kept walking. I was like, oh snap, it wasn't a cat at all. It was it was a raccoon. And so when I looked up the meaning of the raccoon, mind you, I just had this thought about my wig. It was basically saying to take the mask off, right? To not hide behind anything or any false appearances. I said, so y'all trying to tell me to wear my natural hair? And my guides was like, yeah. So I didn't put my wig on that night. But yeah, so just pay attention to these signs. It can be as simple as something like that, depending on what path you're on and where your guides are trying to lead you or to take you or to have you to see. Those are going to come in all kinds of shapes, sizes, and birds. But then something that is really important to pay attention to are the insects. Why? Because the insects are smaller, so they're smaller and they tend to have way shorter lifespans. So those are the even more important messages, right? Oftentimes, okay. Like the other day, like I'm always outside. I'd already been outside that particular day most of the day. I came in, go back outside, and when I got outside, it had just rained that day and everything. But when I got outside, there was a dead wasp under on the patio on the wood, and I was like, oh, well, he's dead, so I didn't do it right, so I just brushed him down. But then I was like, knowing what I know about the wasp, it's usually like telling you to follow your passion or pursue your passion, or to act passionately, something that is really spurring you to get busy. Same with the bee or the bumblebee, to take action, to put in the work, right? And the ant, all similar meanings, but also, like I said, expansive. So there are more than that. And so I'm seeing this wasp, like, and the fact that he's dead. So I had to go ahead and look up the dead wasp. And it really was about something changing, and like difficult times coming to an end. And it was just really very much so in alignment with what was happening in my life at the time. So yeah, I feel like it's very important to not dismiss it just because it's dead. Sometimes it still carries the same meaning if it's an animal. It carries the same meaning as the living creature that it would have been. But most of the time, for insects, when the insect is dead, the meaning is almost completely different. Okay. Um, and I feel often positive, even though we think of it as like, dang, it's dead, that can be good. No, it really can. So definitely look that up. Also, certain numbers, right? um I saw a young lady one time. She's an astrologer, and so for her, so she's an astrologer. She has a lot of influence. So for her to make this statement for me was really disappointing. She didn't make it to me, but she made it on her page, and I feel like it was like a false teaching, where she told everyone, if you are seeing a lot of angel numbers, it's because you're off path. And that is just absolutely not true. Um, because they use angel numbers to encourage us, to show that they are supporting us, to show that they are around us, to remind us to ask for help and guidance, to confirm for us. Like, they just use them for so many different reasons. So I definitely had to speak on that on her page. Like, this is not the truth, right? So understand that it's not necessarily that you're being corrected all the time when you see a number. Sometimes it's just your guide's way of letting you know that they are supporting you. Say you just had a thought about something that you were contemplating doing or wanting to look into, then yeah, if they think that's a good idea, or they support that. I just saw 717 on the clock. You may get a number. Sevens are all about spirituality and knowledge and wisdom, divinely gifted wisdom. It's a mystical number for sure. And then the ones are new beginnings. Definitely numerology. Since I just did that, numerology, take some time, guys, to look from a reputable source to see what numbers 1 through 10 mean for you. Ones are usually about new beginnings of some kind. Twos are about partnership, or duality here, or balance as well. 3 is creative energy. It's creative energy. It's sacral chakra energy. It is sexual energy, right? So that often comes with new relationships or exploring new passions and new hobbies. And then 4s are about your stability, your foundation. Think of it like the way that a 4 is made, like the foundation of a table, or whatever it is that sustains or supports you. So this could be your actual family and friends. It's often connected to family. Or it could be like whatever it is that you do for money, your stability, your job. Fives are always about change or some type of conflict. And conflict could sometimes be, it doesn't have to be like an argument. It could just be like a push and pull, a yes or no, or challenging energy. Okay, so fives are often that energy. It could also be an energy of competition. Sixes get a bad rap. Sixes are always going to be about peace, harmony, growth, happiness, right? What is leading to peace and balance for you? So the number 666, of course, it gets a bad rap, um, because of the mark of the beast. And this is, it may be applicable, but usually in our day-to-day life, that's not what it means. That's not who or what you're connected to, right? So it's often or a sign that you've moved from the 5 to the 6, past this energy of conflict, in more of a zen space or state or place of balance. And then 7 is the mystical number. It is the number of divinity. It is the number of spirituality. It's the number of wisdom, divine wisdom, right? If you say you're watching somebody and you see a lot of sevens, you're watching somebody, say like me, and or you're getting some type of divine message, or you feel like I wonder if this is right, and then you see something where it's like sevens or a lot of sevens, then that's likely confirmation that whatever is being spoken, or the information that you're absorbing at the time, either has some type of spiritual knowledge, or there's some type of spiritual growth there for you in that situation. The number 8 looks like the infinity sign. It is all about dang, I just lost it. It's all about taking action, though. It's a number of prosperity and abundance in numerology. It is also about your personal power and perhaps even the ego in a way, but not exactly. It's like being able to manage or control your emotions in certain situations. So when you see lots of 8s, lots of abundance there, or an incoming, and people have different meanings for abundance, but abundance is usually whatever it is that you feel makes you successful. So that could be money, that could be love, that could be happiness, that could be joy, right? It is all about the emotion. 9s are all about the wish fulfillment, but because 9s are so close to 10, it's also about an energy of something coming to an end, right? It's like you're close to either achieving your goal, or you are about to have a wish, something that you've been wanting for some time to be fulfilled, or that's going to lead to some type of sense of fulfillment for you. Um, and that could also be like, it doesn't necessarily have to be like, oh, something bad is ending, like something good is ending. No, it could be that a period of poverty is ending, right? It's coming to an end and you're moving into a more abundant phase, right? Period of conflict where you've been in conflict with someone, that period may be coming to an end. So take it how it resonates when you see it. Then we also have the number 10. The number 10 is the completion. It is the start. It is the number that comes before the new start, or the new beginning here. It could be something that has been whole and been made whole, and in that regard, that could be a lesson that is whole at the time. Like, okay, this person has gone through this phase or this cycle or the understanding, and they've completed this lesson. It's time to start a new phase of the journey, right? Or it could be a situation that's needing to come to an end, or that's ending or closing, not needing to, because if you get on the 10, it's pretty much there, right? It can also be an energy of feeling content, right? So we have the 10 of Pentacles and the 10 of Cups in tarot, right? Those 10s are happy 10s usually. It's one of support, of balance, of love, of happiness, of completion, right? And then also, because it is right before the new beginning, it's looked at as an energy of renewal, right? Because it's now time to begin again. Also, zeros are super important. Okay, I feel like zeros get left out a little bit more than they should. 0 is divine creative energy, period. It is the beginning before the new beginning, right? And what is that? That's God. That's God. That's source, right? It's like it say you plant a seed to become a tree or a flower. The 0 is the creator before the seed. The 0 is the creator of the seed. Yes, that's the way I want to say that. So anyway, just use those to really help yourself along your path on your day-to-day, because spirit really is always, always, always talking to us in some way. Like it could be from something as big as like a massive bird, eagle, falcon, hawk even, right? Or it can be something as small as a gnat, like where it's like nothing smells around here, so why is this gnat bugging me? The gnat often shows up when there's something that you are either thinking about doing or feeling or wanting to say, but you're not saying it. So the gnat bugs you like to get you to do it, right? Like there's just meaning in everything. So be on the lookout for that. And last but not least, guys, I wanted to talk about taking the time to connect to spirit, to meditate. Okay. I feel like meditation really started this entire thing for me. It really did. And I wasn't necessarily sitting like, in the lotus position and all, Yeah, yeah, nah, we ain't been doing all that. However, not that I haven't, it's just not something that I do consistently or regularly at all. Meditation, I often say it like this. I've been sitting on my butt too long right now, that's for sure. I often say it like this. Prayer is when you talk to God, and meditation is when you listen for God, right? So, meditation is what it allows you to quiet your mind, to calm your energy, and to really hear from the divine about something that you've been asking for. It's a super, 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 super important part of the journey. Most people say, because we are in this world where we have been taught to, hustle, 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 to be on the go. There's always something to do, busy, 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 busy when we are awake, right? Um, there is a need for us to take the time to slow down. There's so much clarity that comes in stillness. There's so much confusion that can be eradicated from just sitting still and taking time to hear what you're hearing. And it's not really to, you don't even have to like take time to focus on a specific thing. Just sit quietly, and the thoughts that you have that come, allow them to come. If they're showing up, there's a reason for them to show up. There may be something about the situation that you need to think of. If you feel like, okay, now I'm thinking about dinner and all this extra stuff, what I'm gonna eat and all that. Okay, allow yourself to shift back to, okay, calm your mind, calm your mind. What your intention is or was for starting that. I started meditating. When I first started meditating, it was mostly outside, near the lake, near the water, because water is such a healing modality. It has such a powerful ability to cleanse not only our physical bodies, but our spiritual, intellectual, emotional, not intellectual, emotional body as well. That's why purging in tears is so healing, right? Crying is so healing. But yeah, so water, get out in nature, get near some water. It's super important, super healing, just to be able to sit out there. And then, especially for the people who say, I could never meditate. Yes, doing that next to water is really going to help you. And I really met and connected to a lot of nice people when I would go out there. But just to sit out there, take your earbuds out, your earphones off, right? Because sometimes there are bird songs that you need to hear. So that you recognize that there is a bird if you're not looking. And so doing that without your earphones in, I feel like keeps your ear and your eye open. All right, but it's going to be super helpful for clarity, and to help you sleep. Like sometimes when I'm not getting the message, you guys know this if you follow me or have followed me for some time, but when I'm not getting the message, my guides would be like, make me so tired all of a sudden. And then this is something that happens, especially when you're on your healing journey. It's like we are moving so fast, you don't see the signs, you don't see the symbols, or you're just in this space of confusion and you're not understanding. It's like, let me put you to sleep so I can show you this in a dream, or I can get your energy to calm down and relax so you're more receptive and open to being a clear channel or receiving this message. Um, so yeah, there were times when my journey was at the height of it. There would be times where I would be driving and it's like I can't even make it up the street. I remember one day I pulled over at the park because I was just so tired at the blue. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna take like a 20-minute nap. And I just sat in the car and I woke up like 2 hours later. I was like, boy, if I was like a black man sitting over here, these people probably would have called the cops on me. Like this person just sitting in their car. But I just was so tired and drained and exhausted, probably either from my experiences or from the upgrades that were happening in my life. I also remember leaving one of my friends a vigil. It wasn't really a vigil. It was like a balloon release celebrating her birthday. She has crossed over or whatever. I saw a picture of her like 2 days ago, baby, and just broke down crying. But anyway, so I'm leaving this place, and it's probably about a 20-minute drive, 30-minute drive for me to get back to my house. And I could not make it. I had to pull over. And I feel like on that day, because I was just hysterically emotional, right? I feel like my guides wanted me to really take some time to center my energy, to ground my energy. So they was like, yeah, take your ass to sleep, basically. So I had to pull over and take a nap, like take a literal nap. But that is not what meditation is for. This is, I'm just telling you that on your journey, that's something that's going to be important. Really being able to ground your energy and center yourself, and meditation helps with that for sure. Definitely a positive thing for me. The more that I began to meditate, I feel like the stronger my intuition began to become. Like it was, yeah, where I was surprising myself. I already have already always been kind of an intuitive person, but once I really started to meditate, like that just grew and grew and grew. And I have a there have been times also, let me tell you about some of these breakthroughs through meditation, where I think I told you guys about that, where I was in the tub and I was meditating. I had, I do my shower and then I sit and do my bath, my spiritual bath with my bath salts and my music and all that stuff, right? I feel like I said, water, it really helps me to connect. And so I did that and I drifted off, and I realized when I woke up I hadn't been asleep for very long. But when I woke up, I woke myself up because I was speaking. I was saying I didn't deserve that. I didn't deserve that. Oh no, I said there were nine of them. There were nine of them. This is when the past life thing kind of came online for me. And then so I decided I really need to do a meditation. Remember, I don't know if I think I told you that our trauma is stored in our sacral chakra. So I lay down to do the meditation. I decide I'm going to use my crystals, right? There are certain stones that correlate to certain chakras, right? So I'm knowing I'm gonna do all seven of them. So I just got my stones, my crystals lined up, and for the sacral chakra one, I held the red jasper. I held the red jasper just in my hand, with my hands, on my lower abdomen, lower than this where you guys can't see, but on my lower abdomen. Ladies, it's your fupa area, that reproductive area. And some things just came up once we started this particular one. I say we, I mean me and my guides started this particular meditation. It wasn't even a guided meditation. It was just the music, but just tears, tears, tears. And so always, 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 especially in meditation, allow yourself to cry. When I was really healing and opening my heart chakra, I would be at the lake in meditation, like allow myself to really relax and to be calm and to monitor my breathing. Okay, so say I'm listening to a seven chakra meditation. Once it gets to the heart chakra, I usually, well, under my boob, guys, because your heart. Y'all know I was a medical assistant as well. Under your heart is pretty much where under your boob, ladies, is where your heart lies. So not really up here, but you can do it up here. I mean, we get the sentiment, right? But yeah, so I'm holding my hand over my heart just to really connect to myself. And guys, the tears, the tears, the tears. It was just very healing. I wasn't thinking about a specific person. I feel like your soul and your higher self already knows what needs to be healed in you, what is affecting you, what needs to be released, right? And it's something that I feel so many times we don't even allow ourselves to cry about things that we need to cry about. Like there have been times where my guides are like, no, you need to take some time for this. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why? I'm good, right? They're like, no, you're not. Like, you need to have a cry. And I'm like, oh, God. So I'll go ahead and do a meditation. And then depending on, wherever we are on the thing, something just comes up. It just comes up. So once you are connected in that way, you can really use meditation to your benefit in that regard to help you release certain things. It is super powerful, super healing, super helpful. So definitely be open to that. One of my favorite ones is, and I've mentioned them before, is Taos Winds. It's TAOS Winds music. Theirs are super powerful. I do feel like there are some channels who just play music just to be playing music, right? Their intention is to get views or to have you run it up. And you'll know that. So follow what you are intuitively guided towards, okay? What resonates with you and for you, all right? And then don't force yourself to sit for an hour or 2 hours or 30 minutes, right? Start small with 5 minutes or 10 minutes, right? Set small goals. And once you get accustomed to it and you're really able to zone out or tune out, especially if you're not used to doing it, I would suggest you start trying to do it by yourself in a quiet space, and especially outside. My son and I used to like go to certain parks just to lay in the grass because like the grass was so pretty, right? And to be outside, of course. But it's like I'm gonna be able to meditate out here in this beautiful grass, right? So just find a spot in nature that appeals to you, that it draws you in, and use it to your benefit and in your healing. Okay, so guys, I'm gonna stop there for today. Our next live, I don't know when I'm gonna do it. I don't want to say tomorrow because I feel like I need to sleep tomorrow. Okay. But I'm thinking maybe Friday we're going to talk about relationships, all right, on this healing journey, cord cutting. I saw a video the other day. This lady was talking about dick and dinners. I definitely want to address that. I want to talk about intimacy, true intimacy versus instant gratification, which is what most of us in the 3D in the matrix are confusing with love, right? And so we're going to talk about definitely true love, the energy of settling for less, of rushing or feeling like you're running out of time, of controlling that whole dynamic. So let's talk about that. I think it's going to be Friday. In the meantime, though, as I stated at the beginning, I'm definitely posting Ascension Journey readings. We have Aries. You guys' stuff is here. You guys are up next. We have Aries, Leo, Aquarius, Capricorn, Taurus, Cancer, and Pisces. Again, these are not only for people who are going through awakenings, but they are for people who are trying to grow on a personal level. What could be blocking you, what spiritual gifts could be coming online, what you need to heal, whatever spirit feels like you need to know in this regard is what these readings are about, which is why they didn't want me to say, like, this is for the people who are awakening. Listen, don't say that. Don't say that. So I was like, okay, well, if you watch the first one with Scorpio, I'm like, okay, I don't really know where this going because this is all they told me. So let's just see what comes out. And that's how we did that. That's how we got started. But yeah, so those few are up. Definitely, guys, continue to like, share, support the channel in any way. And the easiest and most beneficial way for you to do that is not only to watch, to comment, to engage. So I appreciate everybody who's come through today, but also that thumbs up. That is super, super helpful. Yeah. So I appreciate you guys. I hope this was helpful or beneficial to some of you or all of you. And I appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Oh.